The People of Yarmouth County video series, made possible through the Department of Communities, Culture and Heritage Forward Fund, focuses on our region of Yarmouth County and some of the communities and cultural identities that encompass it. We wanted to showcase one of the most important part of our community, our people. The stories told in our 6-part video series are excerpts from longer interviews conducted by the Yarmouth County Museum and Archives staff. They are short stories of both the past and the present. They are memories told by the people of Yarmouth County. Some stories are funny, some are sad, and some will make you think. On behalf of the Yarmouth County Museum and Archives, we'd like to say a very special thank you to all the participants who took part in this project. We loved hearing your stories.
My name is Serliana Hood, okay? If you want to write it down as Cerliana, and the last name is Hood, Hood. I'm Chinese, originally from Indonesia. Well, my background is I'm engineer. I have Master of Civil Engineer, and my husband is also engineer, and we met in the project. So then we fall in love, and so when the project over, we got married. And then we have to choose. My husband is from here, so we have to choose where do we want to live. And seem to be here is our choice, yeah.
Perfect.
It actually is funny to say that, because my husband and I have to decide where to live, you know. Where do we want to bring up our kid? Because when he signed the contract with Shell company, we were in Brunei. And because we are a foreigner to the country, you usually send your kid to boarding school to where you come from, you know, like for either here, Canada, or whatever. And we just don't feel that is the right thing for us to do, you know, to send the kid very young to boarding school. We can't like to bring them up. So we have to decide where to go, and we feel like here is better than in Indonesia. So we come back here, yeah. We choose to come here. Has nothing to do with anything. My husband is from here, and I moved here. What I call it, you know, you fall in love and you follow it. You know, you don't, how do I put it? It's not for anything, but my husband grew up here, so he knows. So we were in love and we start to have kids, you know, so we have to decide, and so we decide this place, yeah, and never regret it, yeah.
Oh, perfect. All right. Since you've moved to Yarmouth, how do you feel that it has changed since you've been here?
Well, it has negative and it has positive, okay? The negative is like this. When I moved here, we have airport, we have train, we have buses to go to Halifax, for instance, okay? And then, as we all know, that slowly, one by one, die. And for a while, I thought, oh my dear, I said, when the last things that gone, we are going to have no connection for the real world here. You know, we have 2 ferry actually going to Portland and Bar Harbor. So we are very open to another places, you know, and that is really good. But then when everything go down, it just seems to be, oh my dear, we are isolated now. But as we see now, which I'm very happy to see, we have ferry again. You know, we couldn't do much about the airport until something can be done more proper. But we lost our bus, you know, we lost our train. Those things are sad. But what I see the last few years after Pam took over this mayor, I know she has a very hard time to try to revive for all this good thing for Yarmouth, but she made a really good progress. She made really good progress, and I just thought slowly we will see Yarmouth more open to different places. And that is very important. Very important for us to bring a specialty here, doctor or whatever. People come here, they want to be able to live as well. Not to live for good, but they want to have the possibility travel somewhere. Okay? If we make it a little bit easier for them, that will attract people to come to Yarmouth more. But what I really see now about Yarmouth, what I really like too, many people actually start to buy places, buying houses here. And that is really good because they have the money. They come from the West, they sold their property in the West, which make a lot of money. And they come here and they buy this property cheap for them. And they start to revive them by fixing them and everything. And I think we need those things. And the opportunity is there now. So that's how I see it. So I just see that, I see the really big thing of Yarmouth with all the industry still here and then go down completely. And now we are on the way up. And I like to be part of that, yeah. Not too much, but I just, I just like this kind of opportunity for museum to, to sponsor this thing. So for people to understand Yarmouth a little bit more, Yarmouth it's great to have young people because they are the one who knows a lot of things about the history and everything. But it's so nice to have the different nation to come. It's just not just for the knowledge that people can have, but also to mix this culture together. I think it's very, very important to make us become very rich, really. So.
Human beings are the same everywhere. The only difference is the culture and the language. And the culture influences the way people behave. And also the language is different because that's what you're used to, because that's what you're born into. And so people speak language that they're born into, and when they come to another culture, people speak different from the way they're used to, and their tradition is different from the one they were born into and they're used to. And so that's what I say is the difference. Apart from those two, language and culture, people are the same everywhere. The way people talk, sometimes the language, like for example the word homely.
Yeah.
The word homely, the first time I used the word, I remember when I was invited to, a family friend of my husband invited me to a house, and she invited other guests, to join us. And after the dinner, I was asked, how was the food at the, dining table? And I said to them that, the food is very, very good, and the lady is very homely too. And I saw the looks on everybody on the table, like, I thought maybe Canadians don't like compliment. And I said, okay, I won't say anything nice, I just have to keep my mouth shut, probably they don't like compliment.
Yeah.
But after we left, there was this lady that came to me and said, what do you mean that the food is good and she's very homely? I said, oh, the food is good and she's a very good homemaker.
Yeah.
And she said, okay, I know you don't mean what we were thinking. I said, what were you guys thinking? And she said, yeah, in Canada it means homely. I said, wow. And I said, I didn't know that. I said, where I come from, we use that word a lot to compliment people who are good homemakers. I would say they're homely. And I never used that word ever again. So, so things like that.
Yeah.
I am a Canadian, and I'm a Canadian by choice, and I love that, and there's no regret whatsoever. Now, I said, let me just tell you how I really feel. My father is an African, I am a Canadian. That's how I look at it. I'm a Canadian by choice, by right, and I'm very grateful that Canada gave me the opportunity and welcomed me here. I would say I'm a Canadian. Yeah, in every way, I am a Canadian by choice, and I love Canada, and I love Canada to the core. This is my country. It's a lot of things to me. One, I'm fortunate to be alive to celebrate this beautiful, wonderful occasion, Canada 150 years. And I said to myself, I I don't know. I don't think another 50 years. I don't think I will be alive then. You know, but to be alive and to be around for 150 years, and for my kids to be around, they were born here and raised here. And even if I'm gone, they will say, yes, mom was around. We will celebrate our 150 years. So for me, I see Canada as a country that is moving forward, is growing in every way. And so I am fortunate that we live in a very happy and a very peaceful country. So it makes it 150 years with no trouble, with no major wars, and peaceful place. It's a big thing.
Yeah.
It's a big thing.
Okay, because I didn't grow up here, I'll tell you a bit about myself earlier. I was born in England, and I was actually born in a pub upstairs. My mother was born in the same pub, my grandparents ran the pub. I moved to Canada with my family when I was 11 years old, and I went to live in Hamilton, Ontario, just outside Hamilton actually. So I went to high school in Dundas, right next to Hamilton. And then I went to college. I went through the military college system because it was in the Navy. I went to college for 2 years at Royal Roads in Victoria, British Columbia, and then Royal Military College, where I graduated from in 1968. That's in Kingston, Ontario. I was in the Navy, as I mentioned, so I was stationed in Halifax. I served aboard 2 ships, HMCS Saguenay and HMCS Nipigon, and I left the Navy after completing the 3 years compulsory service. I loved going to sea, but I didn't like some of the aspects of the Navy, mainly the senior officers. So I left the Navy and I thought, well, what do I want to do? And once when I was home on leave in Victoria, because my parents had moved to Victoria after I'd left Royal Roads, I went into the British Columbia Museum, now called the Royal British Columbia Museum, and I decided that museums were the place that I wanted to work. And I'd always been interested in history. So I tried to get a course, postgraduate course in museum studies, but because I didn't have any training, I couldn't get any experience. And of course I couldn't get any experience because I didn't have any training. So I took the Canadian Museum Association, what's it called? Extension course, a course that I did at home, and then the job became vacant here at the Yarmouth County Museum, so I applied for it, and luckily I got it. So I worked here at the museum for 31 years, and I love Yarmouth, so we stayed here. Fondest memories. I've got so many memories. Well, I think the 2 fondest ones were receiving an award on behalf of the museum for the expansion. We received an award from the Canadian Museum Association on that, so that was one of them. And also the day we opened the new wing, and we were delighted that John McAvity, who's the Executive Director of the Canadian Museum Association, he made a point of coming down to our opening. So that's one of them. Well, because I'm an immigrant, I have a different attitude towards Canada than people who were born here. People who were born here sometimes are, ho-hum, this is Canada, look what they're doing in the States, why can't we do that here? But I'm very proud of living here because of what Canada stands for and how it is different from the United States and many other countries. And I've always liked traveling, which is, I suppose, why I joined the Navy in the first place, but I've traveled quite a bit around the world, and while some countries have things which are better than Canada, Canada, I think, on the whole, is better than most countries in the world. What's in store for the future of Yarmouth? That's a good question. I think we're in good hands with the present mayor. Not sure about some of the councillors, but with the present mayor, we're doing okay. Or in fact, we're doing better than okay. And I think with the developments that you see going on with the downtown and other things in the area, we're sort of picking ourselves up. The main street's starting to look really nice again, and I think the future looks good for Yarmouth.
My name is Nhung. The full name is Nguyễn Thị Nhung. Yeah. So is it my first name is Nhung, family name is Nguyễn, but some in the Bible I change, some Bible don't change.
They do it backwards in Vietnam, like the Chinese do.
Yeah. So I'm Vietnamese. Yeah. So I come from Vietnam. 2004 immigration here. So where I live in Yarmouth. Directly from Vietnam, go directly to Yarmouth because my husband in Yarmouth. Yeah. So stay here forever.
Poor you. Yeah.
No problem. I love it. So when I get married, we decide to live in Vietnam because it's my country, and so after a while, and so I decided maybe interesting. I come to Canada and immigration, and if we have time, we come back Vietnam easily because in Canada sometimes I can get in or not. That's what we decide immigration first, and after that we can come back Vietnam whenever we want to live halfway. 6 months in Yarmouth, 6 months in Vietnam, something like that.
And then you opened a business.
Yeah, but until now I open business stuck here. You know, business is very hard to work in. That's why I don't have time to come back Vietnam. But someday I will come back and visit my family. So we decided to immigrate in Canada. So I came here 2004. What month? I forgot. What month?
End of February, you became a permanent resident.
Yeah.
You'd been here a couple of times before, but that was when you became a permanent resident.
So yeah, when we came here, also John took the. We didn't buy land, right?
Yeah.
And in the farm, and I saw small land. This is small town, I think. We had never know, yeah. So I said, oh my God, when you go home, and so we took the your parents, huh?
Yeah.
Where in airport in Yarmouth.
That was 2002, right? The first time.
No. Oh yeah, this is 2002, and so I'm very quiet, and I don't see the how continue in Vietnam, and very rowdy. That I mean, holy cow, very quiet. So the first time I don't mind too much, and so when I 2004 I just 6 months, and after that I come back. So okay, a little quiet with me, but I'm old. That's why I can adapt very easy because I don't like busy too. But in Yarmouth, it's nice and very good environment, and people know people. Easy to talk, and people very nice and try to talk with me in John family, and try to understand how I say. My English is terrible.
So I would say Yarmouth very very nice to live. If you older but younger, then a little difficult. If you born in here, no problem. People other countries so busy. In here, very quiet, and so you sometimes you cannot stay. But I am older, I can stay. I am easy, right, for me. Mhm. I think this is 150 and not so old, not so long, not so long. But we need to celebrate 150 because independent Canada, independent, right? Independent? Yeah,
its own
that
country.
that important for me. I don't know everybody, but my country is a long time colony. Some other country that very beginning. This is very happy. Canada too. I love it. I love celebrating.
One of the things that hits me about Canada 150, I listen to the news and it's something that's different about Canada. We're the world champs at self-criticism, and it's our greatest strength and it's our greatest weakness. And I mean, if in some countries there'd be a lot of screaming and yelling and flag waving, and there's less of this here. There's some of the talk I hear I don't like. I don't like hearing people that were born and brought up in this country saying they're not Canadians. I can understand where some of it's coming from, but a lot of these people haven't seen much of the rest of the world. And there aren't many countries where you'd have the freedom to say that sort of thing. But the fact that you can say it means that we can benefit from the criticism if we listen to each other in an atmosphere of mutual respect. And I think that's something that needs to be encouraged a little bit more sometimes. People, everybody needs to use their ears. And that's from an experience of working in a lot of countries for a long time. And you don't work in those countries for a long time if you don't use your ears.
Okay. My name is Michael Carbonell. I live right in Yarmouth, exactly in town. And I have been living in Yarmouth for the last 13 years. The first time that I came to Yarmouth, I have to say that I felt, you know, a little bit outside, you know, the culture, but over the years I have adapted to the culture here in town, and incredibly enough, Yarmouth is a very multicultural town. I am originally from Cuba, and I found that there were many cultures living here in Yarmouth. You know, shortly after the time that I arrived, and after that we started connecting, and so Yarmouth is a very cultural town.
Yeah.
Altogether, in general. I came to Yarmouth looking for a job. I got a job full-time here in Yarmouth. At the time, I had been 3 years in Halifax looking for a full-time job, and it was very hard. Look, I looked at or worked in many places, and it was always hard to make ends meet. And our daughter was going to be born, and we moved to Yarmouth after finding a job. That's how I ended up here. People, number one, has been the best part of Yarmouth that I have experienced, and over the years, of course, you know, the progress that I've seen in the, you know, the mentality, how things have turned around for the better. I think it's great. I mean, it's about as old as my home country. It's great to be in a country that has seen so many, so many changes throughout history, and most of all for me, being from away and not having been born here, living in Canada at a very, at a great time when there is more diversity, and then there is more acceptance of different cultures and multiculturalism. I think that Canada is a great nation, and 150th anniversary, I think is looking good. Our music. Cuban music is beautiful. I mean, music in general is beautiful. Cuban music is very contagious, and is very. Unfortunately, around here you can't find musicians that that play Cuban music a lot. I play Cuban music myself, and I'm always trying to bring it up and trying to make people aware of how it sounds and stay connected. But yeah, that's a big part of my culture for me.
Oh, perfect.
Or not, but when I said that Yarmouth was connected to Cuba, meaning that back in 1903, Yarmouth was the chosen town or city for a Cuban consulate in Canada. It wasn't established anywhere else but in Yarmouth, Nova Scotia, and that, of course, was in big part due to the trade, the huge trade of lumber and salt and cod and rum, molasses, all that stuff. And I'm lucky to be here in Yarmouth, Nova Scotia.
No, I think I came here, I've lived in 14 countries. I came here because it was here, I lived in Monaco before I came here, 18 years, and then before that I lived in Norway where my kids were born. And it was, my husband met somebody that had land here at his dentist's office in New York, and then we came here. And then there was a possibility, it took us 2 years, we had given up, but my husband had met all the politicians, and the politicians wanted us here. So he came as an investor, we came with a working visa, and within months we had the permanent residency. It was here or Singapore. I saw the Murray Manor online, and I said to my husband, if you buy me that house, I'll go. If you think I'll like it. And he said, I think you'll love it. I've been here for 2.5 years. I'm doing things that I never thought I would do, but what inspired me was the welcome of the people that are not afraid of the foreigner. And I just think you speak the language of the heart. And that is what I can say that I found here. I love being here.
Okay. That's
It means that sometimes you are taught through experience. When I was young, I used to say, I lived in 14 countries, you have to understand that I moved from one place to another. Mm-hmm. I'm very easy, very adaptable. I look for similarities, not the differences, even though I think the differences teach me, and I love the differences. I love the differences. That's how I learn. When I was young, I used to say, Canada is too wild for me. So I think it's extraordinary. I think it's a wonderful country where people are just welcoming, and it's a country of opportunity because I'm in a place where there are still a lot of things to do. And my son just came from Vancouver to spend the summer working with his father on a project, and Joseph is, he thinks he's going to move here after he finishes his school because he thinks it's a place of opportunity. So I think it used to be the American dream, And I think now it's the turn of the Canadian dream with all the lessons learned from what, from the experiences of what the American dream, why did it, diminish or change. That I think is what I think. What about me is that I'm here to contribute, and I'm here to be part of your society, with an open heart, with an open mind, without wanting to change anything. I just want to make it better in my very humble position. So that's what I want people to know, that I'm here to contribute, not to change anything, or to change for the better, maybe, with my experience, whatever it may be.
Wow.
Yarmouth County Museum and Archives recognizes the support of the province of Nova Scotia. We are pleased to work in partnership with the Department of Communities, Culture and Heritage to develop and promote our cultural resources for all Nova Scotians.